Chair will call to order the meeting of the Cincinnati Local Development Authority. Today is October 2nd. We were noticed for 11:10. We are after that time. We do have a physical quorum, but we do have telephone participation from Mayor Bradshaw and Mayor Brown. So we'll be taking roll call votes. But first, do we have anybody wishing to address us from the public?
There have been no public comments made.
All right, thank you very much. Our first item of business will be approval of the minutes from the TLDA meeting of August 19, 2024.
Move to approve.
Properly moved.
Second.
Properly seconded. Any discussion, comments? Hearing none, let's take a vote, Ms. Thompson.
Mr. Wood,
Aye.
Treasurer Lillard, Secretary Hargett,
Aye.
Commissioner Bryson,
Aye.
Mayor Bradshaw,
Aye.
Mayor Brown.
Aye.
All right, minutes are approved. Next, we'll recognize Ms. Jones, who has some items to cover with us, and she'll give us a report on the state revolving fund clean water loans, as well as the drinking water loans, and also some discussion, hopefully, about how their department and TLDA can help play a role in the horrific events that have occurred over in Northeast Tennessee. Ms. Jones?
Absolutely. Thank you, Board, for hearing me today. I come before you to request approval of 3 loans. First loan is, first up is the Clean Water State Revolving Fund Loan Program. As of August 19th, 2024, our available and unobligated balance was $195,093,273. We're requesting approval of 1 loan today, which will be a decrease to that available balance. That amount of loan request is $24 million, which would bring the remaining available funds for loan, if approved, to $171,093,273.
Or you've heard the report. Is there any question on the report of the balances?
I have one question.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Oh, before the balances. Well, this.
This is about the report, not the actual item.
Then go ahead. I'll ask my.
All right.
Okay. The loan we're requesting approval for today for clean water is the Hamilton County Wastewater Treatment Authority wastewater project. The request for funding is $24 million. The term for that loan would be 20 years. Hamilton County Wastewater Authority ATPI is 80. So that gives them an interest rate of 3.11%. This is not a companion loan. The project are improvements to the wastewater treatment plant, new headworks, grit removal, etc. The total project cost is $24 million. The project is in Hamilton County. They were number 42 on the 2023 priority ranking list. They held their community meeting in June of 2024. Hamilton County Wastewater Treatment Authority charges their 31,059 customers $87.50 per 5,000 gallons, giving them an annual operating revenue of $31,412,933. Their audit report was filed late, a couple of days, and they were initially, they had 1 financial sufficiency review in August, and they were considered sufficient. They have provided, they have pledged a security deposit equal to 1 year's maximum annual debt service, and that will be deposited with the TLDA in the anticipated amount of $1,613,148.
All right, you've heard the item. Chair will entertain a well, first I'll ask if any questions. Commissioner?
Just a quick question, really, for my own information. The security deposit that because they're an authority that they will have to make, is that held for the entire 20 years of the?
Sandy, is that held the entire 20 years? Yes.
Is it essentially the last year's payments or something like that? Or do we just give it back to them?
We just give it back to them.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That was just.
Interesting question. Thank you, Commissioner. Can I get a motion?
Move it.
Properly moved, properly seconded. Any discussion? Any further discussion, I should say. Okay. Ms. Thompson, call the roll, please.
Mr. Wood,
Aye.
Treasurer Lillard, Secretary Hargett,
Aye.
Commissioner Bryson,
Aye.
Mayor Bradshaw,
Aye.
Mayor Brown.
Aye.
All right, the item is approved. Next, we're going to have a report on the drinking water loan fund balances, and we're going to have 2 items. And if there's no objection, we're going to take we're going to hear about both of those and then take them up at the same time.
Thank you, Board. Today, I come before you to ask for 2 loan approvals for the drinking water program. As of August 19th, 2024, our unobligated balance for the drinking water program was $87,950,437. Humboldt returned $177,142. They came in under budget, efficient project, which gave, as of today, our unobligated balance to $88,127,579. The 2 loan requests are one from Chuckey Utility District and the other from City of Rockwood. Both of those come with principal forgiveness, and the total amount for those 2 loans is $7,730,000. If approved, would bring our loans for our remaining funds available for obligation to $80,397,579. The first loan we have to review is for Chuckey Utility District. The requested funding is $1,830,000. The term is 20 years. Their ATPI is 40. They are a disadvantaged community. This would give them an interest rate for this loan of 1.87%. It is not a companion loan. The project is for water line extensions, and they are requesting to install approximately 13,400 linear feet of lines in a specific area that they serve. The total project cost is $1,830,000. They are awarded 50% principal forgiveness, so their loan that would be required for repayment is $915,000. Chuckey Utility District is in Greene and Washington counties. They were number 84 on the 2022 priority ranking list, and they held their public meeting in August of 2024. Their operating revenues of $2,700,076 are earned by charging their 4,909 person customer base $44.85 per 5,000 gallons per month. Their audit report was filed about a month late. And they gave us an initial did an initial financial sufficiency review on them in July, found them sufficient, so no additional review was required. Chuckey also is required to give a security deposit equal to 1 year's maximum annual debt service for this loan, and that anticipated security deposit is $54,876. Chuckey Utility District has provided us with a standard loan documentation for the board to review, including how much debt obligation and an agreement that they support, their community supports this loan. The next loan we have is the City of Rockwood. This is a drinking water loan for $5,900,000. It is also a 20-year loan term. Their ATPI is 50. They are also disadvantaged. Their interest rate for this loan would be 1.87%. The City of Rockwood is looking to do improvements to their drinking water treatment plant. The total project cost for the drinking water treatment plant is $8,477,941.13. Our request in front of the board today is $5.9 million, half of which $2,950,000 will be the principal they need to repay, and the other half, $2,950,000, will be forgiven. They are also using their local American Rescue Plan funds and their TDEC ARPA grant for $2,267,000. The City of Rockwood's drinking water treatment plant is in Roane County. They were number 79 on the 2022 priority ranking list, and they also held their public meeting in August of 2024. The City of Rockwood earns its operating revenue of $4,454,721 in part by charging their customers, of which they have 4,022, $35.10. The board will see that based on questions we've recently received from you and your staff, we have established initially they were insufficient. We did not give them an insufficient letter, but a letter of recommended rate raises. They passed a resolution and effectively are raising their rates throughout the term of the project build. And when the loan payments start, they have to be at that $79.10 in their community to be sufficient to afford the debt. The town resolution says that that is what they're doing. The city of Rockwood has pledged its unobligated state shares taxes in the amount equal to the maximum annual debt service required under this loan agreement. The community from prior years has been given $918,692 in its share of state taxes. This drinking water loan will represent $176,911 for annual debt service, equating to about 19.25% of their annual share. And again, Rockwood has provided all of the standard documentation we need to get this loan passed.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Jones. Any questions or comments regarding those, commissioners?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of questions. I'm trying to follow the money on this one,
Yes, sir?
figure out what it is. So on the 5.9 million is the funding, correct?
Yes, sir.
Half of that they're on the hook for, which is 2.9.
Mhm.
They've got ARPA funds available at 300 and ARPA funds also available for 2.2.
Yes, sir.
So really they only have $200,000. Is that right? That the county has to come up with, or that the city of Rockwood has to come up with? They're,
Are you indicating that 2.9, 2.9, 310, and 2.2 don't add up to 8477941? Is that, well, I am unsure where you're getting the 200.
well, okay, so okay, so it's 2.95 that they have to come up with, right?
In repayment, right, after the project is built.
Right. Well, they've got ARPA money of 310,
Mm-hmm.
is that right?
Yes,
They have other funds, which is also ARPA money of 2.2.
yes.
You add those two together, 2.5
Mm-hmm.
out of, and they need to come up with 2.9, so maybe 400,000, is that?
I'm sorry.
What am I not
think,
following here?
Yes, I think that the total project cost is $8 million. So they're stacking their funding from these different sources. They're using state ARPA, local ARPA, and an SRF
We're
loan.
looking at the
actually-
total project funding in order to set rates. And we do, raising rates is a really hard thing for political entities to do. And you want them to do it over the next 5 years, is that correct?
Correct,
So, and they passed a resolution already? to
correct.
Do that? Okay, to double their rates.
To double their rates. Now, I think that you said we anticipated the amount of rates they would need based on the total project cost. That's not exactly correct. We base it on the depreciation, right, of that and the debt service for the SRF portion only.
Yeah, and that's all, that's fine. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that we had some sense of, one, I wanted to understand the money, and then I also wanted to just understand that we had some sense of assurance that they were going to increase these rates over the next 5 years, just because it is something that's hard for people.
Yes, it is.
All right.
And they've held a public meeting though to discuss that.
Yes, that. Yes, sir. So those rate increases are held in public meeting, put in a resolution, voted on by the body.
Great. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Jones. So you've heard both items. I'm going to move approval of both items.
Second.
Probably moved, properly seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Thompson, call the roll, please.
Mr. Wood,
Aye.
Treasurer Lillard, Secretary Hargit,
Aye.
Commissioner Bryson,
Aye.
Mayor Bradshaw,
Aye.
Mayor Brown.
All right, the items are approved. Our next item is regarding the Parish Utility Authority. Ms. Thompson, are you going to describe that one for us?
Yes, sir. So as the board recalls, back in August of it was just last month or a month or two ago, Paris Utility did present a request to issue debt subordinate to its current obligations. And that was a requirement that the board placed on them, asked them to go ahead and move forward and issue that debt subordinate to. When Paris Utility did go to market, they found that the interest rate was cost prohibitive for them. And so now what they've done is determined that they can revise this amount and come back, and they're asking to issue that debt on parity with their current obligations. Nothing else has really changed in this request except the dollar amount. And I believe $525,000 of that request is for design and engineering that they will amortize over a 5-year period. The other portion of the loan, they will amortize over 20 years. So based on that and based on our analysis, which is the same as the analysis that we did the last time, we believe that they do have funds sufficient to repay that loan.
All right. Anything further? I didn't mean to cut you off if I did. I
No.
believe their bond counsel, Jeff Oldham, is he on the line?
Should be.
Okay. Mr. Oldham, you have anything?
No, no, that's, happy to answer questions.
Okay. Any comments, questions? I'm hearing none. I'll move approval.
Second.
Properly moved, properly second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Thompson, call the roll, please.
Mr. Wood,
Aye.
Treasurer Lillard, Secretary Hargit,
We.
Commissioner Bryson,
Aye.
Mayor Bradshaw,
Aye.
Mayor Brown.
Aye.
All right, the item is approved. All right, next item is we have a report notification for the city of Greenbrier. I believe it's a non-action item, is that right?
That is correct.
Ms. Thompson, go ahead.
So we did receive a request from the city of Greenbrier notifying us that they're going to be issuing debt to prepay some outstanding debt. So they're actually refunding it. According to our guidance, they do not need approval from the board to do that. They just have to notify us that they're doing that. And so we just need to acknowledge their request.
We consider ourselves notified. Thank you. Our next item is, imagine this, once again, let's have a discussion about the RFP for a financial advisor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As you recall, we have a financial advisory contract in place with PFM that expires at the end of this year. It's a 3-year contract with 2 one-year extensions. Our staff has put together and finalized an RFP to be issued on Monday, October 7th. We expect to receive those proposals back from who we've sent them to by November 1st. We will review those proposals, and once we determine a recommendation, we will come before the board in December.
Thank you. I'm really surprised I haven't heard more about this at previous meetings. So thank you, Ms. Thompson. Anybody else?
Move to adjourn.
Well, no, we got one more item. We got
Yeah,
one,
sorry, one other.
we got one more item. So I believe we're going to we're going to recognize Ms. Jones. So let's talk about TDEC and the state revolving fund response to our hurricane in the federally declared disaster areas in East Tennessee. Ms. Jones?
Absolutely. I thank you for recognizing this special request to be put on the agenda, although it wasn't scheduled. Neither was the disaster, right? So the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation is currently responding to the disasters caused by Hurricane Helene in East Tennessee. As part of our efforts, the Division of Water Resources is working with and identified all the drinking water and wastewater systems severely affected by this natural disaster. The SRF program has done preliminary reviews of these utilities and has noted that many of these systems, 21 of the affected, 13 are current customers, are actively working to receive a loan. EPA allows the state SRFs the ability to help mitigate impacts from natural disasters by providing options we can exercise where current agreements are in place and options for agreements that can be issued after a disaster occurs. Some immediate steps that the SRF program would like to take and like your approval for is to provide 12 months of forbearance to any SRF loan borrower within the federally listed disaster area. Borrowers will be evaluated on a case-by-case basis for requests beyond 12 months. I can tell you that we have 9 customers currently in repayment spread across drinking water and wastewater. It represents less than 4%. It's $420,000 in potential repayment for 1 year of annual debt service for drinking water, which represents less than 4% of our projected annual repayments. And for clean water, it is $280,000, and that represents only 0.5% of what we normally get back. I've already chatted with some of the utilities there, and they say not having to pay a $300,000 annual debt service would be a very big help. The other thing is we are working to and would like permission to establish a protocol for modifying existing agreements to allow for new actions to be covered, and then establish a protocol for modifying existing proposals that are to be loans over the next 6 months. We just approved Chuckey Utility District. We did not stop their loan from going forward, but know that they are in the very affected area and will desperately need this money. So we are asking that TLDA approve these actions. We're also taking other immediate actions like prioritizing reimbursements. Elizabethton, for example, had a large reimbursement to us. They cannot demonstrate that they are finished. We understand we're giving them 90 days to do that, but have already reimbursed them those funds. We're eliminating site inspections and other elements within the next 90 days. And then we are also establishing the amount of money that we can provide as grants in the next 4 to 8 weeks. Our initial evaluation is we think we have about $8 million in drinking water that the EPA will allow us to issue immediately as drinking water recovery grants for those systems that are severely affected. We're also doing the same for American Rescue Plan. The number of utilities that are with the American Rescue Plan dollars are much greater, and some of those have significant issues. We're taking similar steps and working through U.S. Treasury's 2023 interim final rule to ensure that all of the actions will be eligible, and we'll be reviewing what the utilities want to do on a case-by-case basis.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Jones. I want to compliment you and the commissioner and the entire team at TDEC for how quickly y'all put something together and try to think about how your department and this body could join together and help provide some relief. So I do want to point out this, what you just read and proposed is in our packets. We received it, I want to say early Monday afternoon. Correct? Sandy, you think that's accurate?
Yep.
Okay. I'm still thinking on Eastern time. So thank you. Any questions about the proposal? Commissioner, go ahead.
Thank you. I want to echo the secretary's comments. I think this is terrific, and I think what you're doing is absolutely right. I do have some questions just about it, if you don't mind. The forbearance, will that interest accumulate, or are we going to forgive that interest over the first year?
So I think that's really a discussion that we need to have, that mechanism and process with state government finance to understand, because state government finance really ensures that those payments are timely and the interest rate. We have flexibility. We can hold off on that interest. We can forbear it completely and just restart it again, or they can incur interest during that time.
And I don't understand how those kinds of policies get done. Is that something this committee needs to deal with, or is that something you all can do unilaterally on that?
I don't know if the committee needs to approve it.
Because if there's something we need to do, I'm happy to move forward on it.
I believe that the TLDA is the one that makes the decision as to whether a loan can be forgiven or have forbearance or interest or principal forgiven. And so it would be, I believe, up to the TLDA.
About the interest rate, whether we continue to charge interest during the forbearance period or
Forgive it
give it.
or forbear it.
Yeah, I think our vote right now is to 12 months of forbearance, but that doesn't preclude us from coming back and doing something different, even ultimately, if everybody determines it's appropriate to change that to forgiveness. But today's vote, what you put in front of us is forbearance for 12 months.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The second line on that is borrowers will be evaluated on a case-to-case basis for requests beyond 12 months. We don't know yet, I would imagine, what those evaluation criteria will be, right? I would just ask that you come back to us before the 12 months with what those criteria will be so we can have that discussion.
Absolutely.
Establish a protocol for modifying existing agreements. This is number 2, to allow for new actions to be covered. Is this actually only establishing a protocol, or is this actually moving forward with the new actions that are contemplated here?
Mm-hmm. So right now, the utilities don't really know what they need. And I think it's important that we establish some boundaries. I'm in talks with the Environmental Protection Agency as well as a national consultant on what the do's and don'ts are, because we also have to consider FEMA money, how that is in play. So really it is establishing the protocol, determining what elements may be in a loan agreement and how we would go about modifying that. Then what would be the impact to the amount that they currently owe?
Yeah, I want to be as flexible as possible as we can. At the same time, I want to make sure that we understand what we're voting on, and that this committee, this whatever authority, whatever we're called, has the proper makes the proper moves that we need to make. Because I'm very much in favor of this. I just want to make sure we're doing the right thing. Similar on number 3, modifying existing proposals to loan agreements over the next 6 months. This is also a protocol, correct?
Correct.
Right, not necessarily actions. I was trying to think, as SRF is establishing an emergency grant opportunity for drinking water systems. Is there anything do we need to have come in 2 to 4 weeks? Is there anything that we need to do if you're doing new grants to water systems?
So we will be accessing funding currently only from our capitalization grants, moving it from the projects category. So you will see a decrease in the unobligated balance, but not from the revolving fund. We'll be moving that into the grants program. And so TLDA doesn't need to approve the grants, but I think you should be notified that we're taking money and putting it in our set asides, which is, a common action that we do regardless.
Okay.
If there is interest and need for us to use revolving fund money, that would obviously need to be a conversation and something that we vote on with you guys.
On all of these items, I think I would speak for everyone else. We would be more than happy to have a special called meeting if we need to,
Okay.
if we need to deal with some of these. So put that on the table as a potential option if that's necessary. This is the drinking water and water is a huge issue that needs to be dealt with quickly. And I don't want any of our protocols or bureaucracy slowing that down.
Absolutely.
The last thing, I've been working with the ARP a lot, and so I'm
Yes, sir.
very cognizant of the deadlines that we have. I don't know about the emergency relief. Do these, if we give some waivers on some of these, is that going to be a problem with the deadlines that we have, that the federal government is giving us with the end of this year and then particularly the end of calendar year 26?
So it's just so happens that several of the entities that have ARP money, Newport, City of Newport, Cott County, and Irwin itself, had about 13 or $15 million in unobligated money available to them. They were still in the midst of signing their contract. So I'm giving them the space right now to see, do you need other contracts? And in order to help them meet the September 30th, 2026 deadline, which U.S. Treasury has not changed, we are also enacting emergency procurement procedures to allow them to go through that procurement process in a very fast pace so they don't have to do the formal sealed bid, which can take, 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, my guess is that the Treasury is probably going to give us some relief on this before it's all over, because it's not just Tennessee, as we know. It's a big swath of the country. So we'll probably see some relief there. But thank you for what you just said, because what I would ask is that you all give them particular help in speeding this up, so that if we don't assuming we don't get relief, that we meet those deadlines.
Absolutely.
So thank you for doing that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That is everything that I have.
Very, very thoughtful questions. Thank you for pursuing those. Anything else from the members of the body? All right, I'll move approval.
Second.
Properly moved, properly second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Thompson, call the roll, please.
Mr. Wood,
Aye.
Treasurer Lillard, Secretary Hargit,
Aye.
Commissioner Bryson,
Aye.
Mayor Bradshaw,
Aye.
Mayor Brown.
Aye.
I think that's an adjournment.
Apologize. Yeah. Okay. So the motion is approved. Thank you, Ms. Jones. Next on our agenda would be a motion to adjourn. Properly moved, properly second. The item's not debatable. Ms. Thompson, call the roll, please.
Mr. Wood,
Aye.
Treasurer Lillard, Secretary Hargit,
Aye.
Commissioner Bryson,
Aye.
Mayor Bradshaw,
Aye.
Mayor Brown.
Aye.
All right, we stand adjourned. Thank you very much.